how's it going? Welcome to another episode of Behind the Shot with Brian Ach. That's right, this is the show where we take a single frame of photography, one photo, and we talk about everything that went into making that picture. We go behind the scenes, we pull back the curtain, we tell you the gossip, everything you always wanted to know but were afraid to ask, we're going to tell you. Okay, so let's get started. We're going back to November 6th, 2018, so it's not that long ago. And let's pull up the photo, and this is, of course, Joanna Gaines, right? She's the home makeover expert that we've seen. She owns the Magnolia Home store, and she's got 30 different magazines and 500 books, and she has 13 different TV shows. Of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it seems like Joanna and her husband Chip are everywhere these days, and they were everywhere in 2018. They're super nice people. This is not the first time I photographed her or both of them together, and this presented a very interesting challenge, and that's why I decided to talk about this picture today. This is a portrait. This was a job for AP, for Envision, which is the entertainment side of AP Images. I've been shooting for them, 10 years, something like that, quite a while. And this portrait was good because it was a location portrait. Often the portraits are at AP, at the studio, which is a bit limiting as to what you can do. You know, you can't say, hey, go sit on this sofa over there, because there's no sofa. So you can't do stuff like that. But this was at the Tribeca Hotel, which is a very cool venue to shoot in because all the rooms are a little different and stuff like that. And we had the penthouse suite, which has an amazing glass greenhouse, and this was for her book, which is called, it's called Homebody. Homebody, like two words, homebody. Not homebody, like you never leave your home, but it was about spaces that you'll never want to leave. That's the feeling of the book. So it was like an inviting kind of cozy, homey, cuddle up with the blanket and the cat and watch some Netflix, whatever. That's kind of the overwhelming feeling of the book. The only problem was it was extremely cold and it was a torrential rainstorm outside with maybe even some sleet. I can't remember. It was the exact opposite of the inviting feeling that you wanted to have for a portrait shoot like this when you have a huge glass window and everything, and the rain was coming down and everybody was kind of in a mopey kind of mood and everything. So I got there early, like I always do. That's my advice. If you want to do portraits or you're doing a portrait or a photo shoot in general, get there early. If they say noon, get there at 11:30, maybe even earlier. Get there early, have a cup of coffee, get settled in, see the lay of the land, see what's going on. And then that will make you better at your job, basically. So I think my call time for this was 11 o'clock. I got there at 10:30. I sat in the lobby. I had a coffee, and I waited for the PR person to come down. Talked to her about what they wanted. They wanted, really inviting feeling, and they wanted it to look cozy, and I'm like, that's cool. It's totally cool. Of course, the weather wasn't very cozy, and I was completely soaked by the time I got there, but I was like, let's do this. It's cool. So we go upstairs, and Joanna and Chip are there, and they're staying there a day or two. I'm not sure. And we're like, oh, we're going to do it right here. Where do you want to do it? And so I'm gonna go through the mental process of creating a portrait like this. So you get into the room, and they're like, this is the space. So I want to look around and absorb everything for a good 1 to 5 minutes. And I know a lot of other artists think the same way. They want to get in and feel what the vibe is. The window is the focus point of the room. It's cool. It's raining. It's crappy outside, But I'm looking around and I'm like, the furniture's good. It's all homey, and the wood, you like the wood floor and stuff like that. But the room is laid out completely wrong. It's laid out so that you look out the window. not so that you're looking in towards the room. So I kind of looked around and I thought, okay, and Joanna's upstairs. She's not even down at the time. And I'm like, okay, this is what's going to work. What's going to work is we're going to need to see the window. It's going to have to look sunny. I'm going to have to light it so that it looks sunny and inviting and cozy. And I'm going to have to flip the room. That's basically what it is. It's a location portrait. Don't always allow yourself to be limited by what you're given. And this is advice for any kind of photography. I mean, don't be a jerk about it. Don't push and be like never invited back, But don't automatically take what they're giving you as the final answer. Don't automatically think, okay, well, that's the only way we can do this, so I'm just going to do it like that. That's not how you make great portraits, and it's not how you take great pictures. Great pictures are made by pushing for what you need. So if you look at the room and you're like, it's great, it's just completely wrong, it's reversed. I just said, could everybody just go upstairs? I'm going to, art direct the room and change it around to how I want. And it took me, a good 5-10 minutes. I basically moved everything you see in the room. I moved everything you see in this picture. So like the chair she's sitting in, the couch was completely opposite. The couch was where I'm standing taking the photo. The table was out of the shot. Those two barrels were on the other side of the room. The books, I positioned her books around, because it is a book launch and we're doing a story about the book launch. The telescope in the background, was kind of barren, and I thought we need to add a telescope because telescopes make everything better, basically. And the cushion on her chair, I'll get to that. But everything, there's a reason for everything in the photo. And I'm not an art director, but I end up art directing my own shoots because usually I don't have time. I don't hire an art director. I looked at what she was wearing first, and I said, if you could change your shoes. So she put on these very cool, whatever they're called, espadrilles. I don't know. I'm not a shoe guy. But it looked better than wearing what she was wearing before, and just a simple outfit. And the cool thing is the yellow pillow, gold pillow that I found somewhere else, and I put it behind her. And this is like a trick, if your client is sitting in a chair, they tend to slump, like this, because the chair might be too deep for them. So you can just put a pillow behind them. 9 times out of 10, you don't want to see the pillow. You can just put a little throw pillow there, and they'll sit up, and it looks better. This one added a splash of color, and nothing says homey like gold, so I put that there. Now, lighting this was very interesting. It took me a good 35-40 minutes to light something. And if you've seen any of my previous videos, I usually light stuff very quick. I'm talking like 5 minutes, your go-to setup, and this is it, You're the director, remember? If you're doing a portrait session, you are the director of your own film, kind of, and you need to do the things that create the mood to get the shot you want. You can't just accept the mood that everybody's in. You gotta make it. So we had some good music. Joanna comes downstairs. She's like, oh my God, I love this. And I'm like, hey, remember me? I shot you at the thing. And she's like, oh yeah. And I said, I was doing the bathroom renovation at the time. And she's like, oh, how did that come out? And I said, funny you should ask. I have photos. So I showed her the before and after. And she was like, oh my God. And I said, I took your advice. And she was totally psyched about that. And I was like, I'm not lying. We actually did it. And she thought it was very cool. So by now, the mood is totally much better. I seated her in the chair. I did some preliminary lighting, and then I fine-tuned it. So for this shoot, I was using Elechrome lights. I was using the Quadra system. So I have 3 heads and 2 packs right now. I'm using 1 head and 1 whole pack to light her. Then I have another pack and an extension cord head. And so 1 head is lighting the edge of this table down front, and then the other head is run behind her and is kind of raking the window. And the whole goal of raking the window like that is so I can blow it out and you don't see the raindrops and the rain sheeting down on the window, which you can't see, which is very cool. So we rake the side of her chair and we have that golden light coming in, and this was shot with a Canon 1DX. I usually use a 5D Mark IV or whatever. 1DX, it looked really good. This was shot with a 24-70 f2.8. This was shot at 30 millimeters, so pretty wide. It's ISO 800 again because it was really dark and gloomy. And this was shot wide open at 2.8, and it's shot at 1/60th. So at a 60th, I'm trying to balance any light coming in from the outside windows with the light that I'm shooting off inside. And I'm just trying to get it balanced out so that it's a little overexposed in the background, like I said, so I get rid of the rain on the window. She was totally game. You know, she's great. I mean, what can you say? She's great on TV, whatever. So I just gave her, I said, think about where you would like to be right now if it was sunny. And literally, this is the expression that she had, and she was totally involved in it. You know, I gave her something to do, and I asked her to, you know, think about that and maybe say something about that. And she was smiling, and this is it. And we took quite a few pictures, and there were basically only 2 setups. It was very quick. So it was, you know, an hour and a half of setup for 5 minutes of shooting, which she appreciated, and then we were done. So that's Joanna Gaines, and that's some tricks if the weather doesn't cooperate, how to make it look better. As always, leave any comments in the comment section, which is why they call it that, and tell me anybody you want to see in terms of celebrities or anything like that. Any questions you have, leave those in the comments. Please follow me, and we'll get to some more great content in the future. Okay, thanks a lot.